Okay. Alright. There are plenty of videos on the hit pain porno Neon Genesis Evangelion, and in those videos there has already been far too much talk about the show's static shots that go on for fucking ever. The elevator scene being the chief meme among them. So, today, let's get together and shovel onto that dung pile more with a video about how Neon Genesis Evangelion uses long takes.
So he was just 23 when he stepped out on that ledge. It was his weary heart that pushed him to the edge. He was tired of living life and looking for love. A weary heart just needs a little touch, and is it too much to ask? He cried as he stepped into the room.
Do you fear being alone? Do you fear being afraid that you will lose your identity if others leave you?
A long take, for the layman, is any shot that continues uncut for a long time. There is nothing scientific about this, and there is no exact cutoff for length. It's a know it when you see it kind of shot. And you will know it when you see it in Neon Genesis Evangelion. Director Hideaki Anno draws a lot of attention to his long takes, and what has disturbed the internet ever since Evangelion's premiere is the scenes that get long takes. If you go back throughout movie history, you'll see long takes typically get used in one of two ways. The first is for dialogue. This shot from Stanley Kubrick's Clockwork Orange goes on for 2 minutes 50 seconds and features only two characters talking. The second use is as a massive set piece. This shot from Alfonso Cuarón's Children of Men lasts for over 6 minutes. The shot itself is almost a short film on its own. The camera moves between long shots, close-ups, sometimes it stands still, other times it's shaking around, we get pans, we get tracking shots. This is a showstopper that gets audiences immersed in the story and enraptured by the filmmaking. The Clockwork Orange long take is meant to be invisible. The Children of Men long take is meant to be a show stealer. Anno doesn't really do either of these types of long takes in Evangelion. While there are longer takes during action and during dialogue, the long takes he holds the longest are shots where seemingly nothing is happening. Beyond the infamous elevator scene, sometimes we have shots of ceilings, shots of one character holding another, shots of one character staring into the camera. This isn't abnormal shot selection, but most directors and editors would trim these shots down. This is the core question. What effect do we get from holding these shots for so long? Much of the analysis of Evangelion's long takes comes down to a debate over what the show's budget was, were these cost-saving measures, was it padding to hit TV runtimes? And no disrespect meant to anyone, but I think these debates and these questions are kind of stupid and unhelpful. We can only watch the show as it is given to us, and no behind-the-scenes explanation changes what we see. Now, this style of long take is not without precedent. Here's that mystical elevator shot. Now, here's a series of long takes from Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker. Both of these sequences are nominally about two characters moving from one location to another with little other narrative happening. The critical difference is how minimalist Anno makes Tarkovsky's concept. Tarkovsky's camera moves, and he does periodically cut between longer shots. The cart is moving outside, and the changing background gives movement to the image. Anno has a static frame with no movement. The only element present beyond this one static image is the low hum and clank of the elevator. Roughly 50 seconds pass before a cut, and that cut, importantly, is on dialogue.
You're saying this is my fault? I'm blocking myself?
Yes.
Most editing is designed to make audiences understand emotion. We can see this in the build-up to the elevator shot. We see a shot of the elevator open, cut to a reaction of Asuka being surprised and then angry. Cut to an insert of the ticker, and then to the two-shot of Asuka and the newly seen Rei. This sequence tells us that Asuka is angry at Rei, and we don't need any other context to know this. A typical director would imply the elevator ride through an ellipsis and start the elevator shot just before Rei begins talking. After all, we gain no new narrative information by being here for 40 seconds before Rei speaks. What we do gain is emotion through time. By watching in real time just how long Asuka holds her anger without being able to communicate, the viewer becomes uncomfortable, anxious, and impatient. This shit is awkward, and Anno makes us vicariously experience the awkwardness before breaking the dam with a cut. The static nature of this shot heightens the awkwardness, but that's not all we get from these long takes. This lack of movement is a feature, and Anno creates many different effects in the stasis. Late in the show, circumstances force one character to kill another. This shot goes on for a full, unedited minute while we await the inevitable. Instead of bringing out the awkwardness and difficulty that comes with a failure to communicate, this shot forces us to consider and experience how monumental and impossible this killing is, as well as the emotional ramifications of this specific relationship. I'd use more specifics, but we're keeping it spoiler-free today. Anno's long takes are not always this long. Anno and his editor, Sachiko Miki, cut on moments of emotional change or decision. This shot of Shinji sitting in the darkness lasts 12 seconds. We're here long enough to feel his isolation. The cut happens when Misato yells at him.
Ayanami and you and Miss
Stow that line of crap! This has nothing to do with any of us. If you don't like it, get out of here. Just forget all of it.
This changed the emotion of the scene and the dynamic of the conversation, so we changed the shot. Unlike traditional long takes that deliver narrative in either hidden or extravagant ways, Anno is using the long take for us to experience the process of developing emotion and making decisions. Thematically, Evangelion is all about the struggle to express oneself, and this editing style is critical in making that theme resonate so strongly. To see how good this editing style is at expressing emotion, let's do a small, little, tiny scene comparison. From 2007 to 2021, Evangelion was rebuilt in a series of 4 movies. These movies are the greatest imaginable testaments to the power of the original series. In the first film, 1.0, You Are Not Alone, there is a recreation of an early scene from the series where Shinji wakes up staring at an unfamiliar ceiling. The editing in the film is much faster, much more impatient. In both scenes, Shinji feels depressed and isolated. 1.0 establishes Shinji's isolation through exposition, but loses these small moments where the show's static long takes express in simple pictures and time what words fail to convey. And, hey, this is where most discussion usually ends. Not just for Evangelion, but also for most discussion about long takes. Most directors who build their style around long takes rarely contrast these long takes against faster editing. The decision by Anno and Sachiko to cut with the rhythm of emotion creates a stylistic chasm between different scenes. During the controversial final episodes of Evangelion, there are moments where shots are lasting a fraction of a second. Pictures fly by so fast that it's impossible to fully decipher the images in real time. Anyone who's experienced a mental or emotional breakdown will recognize the feeling created by this. As the characters descend into their deepest memories and struggle to deal with them, that struggle is reflected by the editing. While Anno's screenplay doesn't keep up with the quality of the filmmaking, the final minutes of Evangelion remain effective because of the editing. Editing that works so well because it plays off of the longer, slower takes that populate earlier episodes. Anyone who's been in a college film class knows that everyone beats their meat to long takes like nothing else. What Neon Genesis Evangelion shows is that motivated editing is the best way to do a long take, and that's why the original series is the best incarnation of Evangelion. This is why editing matters, and why the long takes in Neon Genesis Evangelion are awesome. Anime. You gotta love it. I don't know, I haven't watched any anime for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, and I've just been coming back to it, and I watched Evangelion, and I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. And the other thing that's pretty good is the names you're seeing along the screen right now. These are all of my supporters over on patreon.com and here on YouTube as YouTube members. If you would like to support the channel to make sure that videos like this continue to get made, please considering supporting the channel at patreon.com or as a YouTube member. Those links are in the description. Thank you to everybody who already supports the channel, and I will see you all next time.